Rob, tell us the first time Mary Poppins, those two words crossed your mind.
Oh,
How
gosh.
long ago was that?
Well, it was the first film I saw as a child. So I was 4 years old when I saw it. And I think it sort of introduced me to this world of film in an incredible way. I mean, it's such an extraordinary film with, of course, music and magic and fantasy and performance and dance, everything, all at once. And of course, I revisited it over the years, and I never quite imagined that it would fall in my lap as a sequel 54 years later, which is an extraordinary thing. But I will say, even though I was completely daunted by the idea of it, because following in those great footsteps, how does that work? But I did feel that if anybody was to do it, I wanted to be that person, because I feel it's in my blood. I feel musical filmmaking is in my blood, but I also feel that the film Mary Poppins is so deep inside me too, and I wanted to be able to approach this film with a great deal of respect for that first film, and care and love, but I also wanted to do something I'd never done before, which is create an original musical from the very beginning, which is what I did. With this incredible team, we spent 3 years on this film. I started writing it in 2015, and it's just sort of finished up about a month ago. So it's been probably the hardest film I've ever done, but definitely my most personal film as well, because not only how I feel about the whole of the Mary Poppins-esque of it all, but I also, it's what the film says. It's what the film is hopefully expresses, which is the sense of hope in a dark time. And I feel that's very current in our time today. It feels like we're in a place where we need a little bit of an injection of hope. And so that was a guiding light for me the entire time I was filming.
When we saw that screening with SAG, I'm not sure how they let four journalists in for the SAG
That's
screening,
amazing.
but just spontaneous applause at several moments.
Oh, wow.
The big production number in the middle.
Yeah.
When certain, I don't know if they're revealed, but cameos.
Sure.
Certain people appear on screen.
Yes, we know. I'll say it. Dick Van Dyke. I'm telling you now, that experience working with him on this film was a dream come true. He's my hero. I grew up obviously with the Dick Van Dyke Show, but even more than that, like Bye Bye Birdie and Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, Mary Poppins, of course, and he is extraordinary. And when we shot the film, he was 91. And people have been asking me, is that all him dancing? And it's, of course it's all him. Every bit of it. He jumps up on a desk and starts tap dancing. He's extraordinary. And I will say that he said something to me that I will never forget. We were walking on the set together, and he stopped me and he said, "Rob, I have to tell you that I feel the same spirit on this set that I did in the first film." And that was, to me, honestly, the greatest moment for me to feel that connection from that film to our film and have him there.
Our audience applauded him twice. Once when he just appears on screen.
Wow.
He walks through the door, and then right when he starts to dance. Maybe they did on the after the dance too, but
wow.
Definitely when he started the dance, there's just this gasp like, he's gonna dance.
Well, because we're all waiting for that. Can he still do that? And of course he can. What's so funny is he's playing an old banker. Basically the same old banker that he played in the first film, but he was 37 then. Now he's 91, but still having to act old because he's not. He's so spry and so youthful. He's fantastic.
Tell us about Emily Blunt. If she had said no,
yes,
would you have abandoned it?
I think I might have, because I don't see a movie without her. It was such a tall order, the requirements for this role, because you need to be a great actress to play all the layers of Mary Poppins. There's that facade of sternness and brusque nanny, and then under that there has to be warmth, and there has to be humor, and there has to be a sense of childlike spirit there. All of that needs to be underneath all this, and we need to see glimpses of that person under there, and that humanity is so key. Otherwise she becomes a cartoon. And Emily is so fully realize as an actor. I mean, it's just extraordinary. And plus, you need to be able to sing, and you need to be able to dance, and in addition, you know, she's British. I mean, it was sort of like this. There was literally no one else. I had worked with her on Into the Woods, and I just knew the moment this came to me that she was Mary Poppins, and I was hoping she'd feel the same way, and she did feel the same way, luckily.
There's not a lot to me of just movie stars, not actors and actresses, but just people that whatever movie they're in. Think about Quiet Places.
Yes,
they just command the screen.
Yeah, that's who she is. I said that to John Krasinski, actually, because we were in post-production while he was getting ready to shoot A Quiet Place, and I said to John, wait till you see. Wait till you see what she's like on film. He said, oh, I know. I said, no. Wait till you see what she brings. There's something so magical about her work. It's just that thing that you said. She has something. She has that classic movie star aura. It's there.
I don't remember who the actor was, but they said something about Spencer Tracy of when they were acting with him, actually physically opposite him.
Yes.
They thought, well, he's not really doing anything. This is not going to translate on script.
Yeah.
Then they'd watch the dailies or watch the film. They're like, I didn't see that opposite him.
I know. Katharine Hepburn has talked about that in detail too. He was so real. You never knew when he was saying the lines. I mean, that's the goal, to find the truth. And with great actors, I mean, I will say that this movie is filled with those, like Ben Whishaw, Lin-Manuel Miranda, Meryl Streep, Colin Firth, I mean, Emily Mortimer, Julie Walters. I mean, it is like filled with great actors. And I was so blessed to have over 2 months of rehearsal with this cast to create a company so we could all be on the same page and really try and find the truth of this movie, because it's very easy with a film like this to kind of wink and send it up and all of that, and I didn't want to do that. I wanted to create a family and a story that you really feel is real and you connect with, so that when Mary Poppins comes to take them on these adventures, that's the fantasia, that's the thing that takes you away, and then you're back to this real story, but you're hopefully emotionally connected to this story and this family.
What brought you to Mark and Scott on working on the songs and Mark working on the score?
Well, I'll tell you something. I've known Mark and Scott forever. So ever since I came to this New York City and started in the theater, and always wanted to work with them. You know, I developed Hairspray with them for close to a year, and then I actually had a decision to make between doing Hairspray on stage or going off and doing the film Chicago. The hardest decision of my life, but I was very happy to how it worked out.
Okay.
It worked out okay. But we've talked about working together for a long time since, and I just knew when this came around, John DeLuca and myself really sat down and thought, who is right for this? Who has this movie in their blood? And I really felt like that was a very important requirement, that you have to have the original first film in your blood somewhere, because we are following that. And I know it was why Mark became a composer, literally, that film. And I knew that he would be able to write with Scott in the style of the first film, the Sherman Brothers, extraordinary music, but at the same time create something new. It was a really tricky balancing act, I will say, because you know, you want to pay homage to this, but to the first film, but at the same time, you really want to create a path of your own and create a whole new original musical. So this was our task. It was such a high bar, but we were reaching, and, you know, to the very last breath we had, you know.
Well, that's what I liked about it the most, is that it does walk that fine line of being a brand new original musical,
yes,
but then giving homage to the past.
Yeah. I just felt, I used myself as a barometer the entire time. I thought, what would I want to see? If I came to see a sequel to Mary Poppins, I would want to see a live-action animation sequence, and I'd want to see it in 2D and with hand-drawn animation, which was that was a huge challenge, because so many of the artists who do hand-drawn animation are retired and have moved on, sort of becoming a lost art. So a lot of our animators came out of retirement to do this. In addition, we had a lot of 20-somethings that were really excited to learn the old school style, more interested in that than the sort of computer-generated work. And so I mean, that's an example of something that I knew that I wanted to see. I wanted to see a big production number, you know, with male dancers, athletic, exciting, you know, and we have this 8-minute number that's, you know, that was exactly the kind of thing that I love so much. John and I choreographed it together. It was thrilling to do. I mean, you know, there were so many things. I also knew when not to, you know, it's like you can't overindulge in that. You know, you have to make sure that you use it very sparingly, but in very strategic places, and you know, so that was the goal.
That big production number, the Trip the Light Fantastic,
Yes.
that's one of your 2 submissions for Oscar voters to consider.
Yes.
If that gets in, would you be involved in helping to put that particular sequence together for the Oscars?
Knock knock, if we were ever lucky enough to, I would absolutely be all over that because it's so important how something is presented. And you know, starting off as a dancer myself and a choreographer, moving into direction, obviously, it's really something that I'd want to be part of course.
Have you heard from Julie Andrews at all? Has she seen it?
Julie's a very good friend of mine. She has not seen the film yet. She's very excited to see it. I know she's working on her book, so she has a deadline. She's like in the middle of her 2nd book. But she has been beyond supportive. You know, we approached her early on and said, well, you know, I mean, it's just a dialogue. Should you be part of this? You know, should there be a cameo for you? She just immediately said, here's the thing. I love Emily Blunt. She loves her work. She said she's the perfect choice, and I know it's going to be in your hands. It's going to be treated beautifully. She said, I really honestly feel that Emily needs to run with this. This is her show, and I shouldn't be around it. And I thought that was so smart, but also very generous, which is who she is. And she said to me and John, we had dinner with her not that long ago, she said, it's so time for this film. And it's so time for, you know, there are 8 books, there's all this material. She said, it's time for a sequel after 54 years. She goes, and she's very excited for it. So I'm excited for her to see the film.
I told Emily earlier, they haven't announced a DeMille winner yet for the Globes, the Life Achievement.
Yes.
Let's do Julie Andrews, and all of you might be there, and just that would be the perfect symmetry of an evening.
She deserves every single thing, and I hope they do give her that. I mean, you know, there's no one like her. I mean, look what she did. She's extraordinary, and also just who she is as a person.
Yes, Dick Van Dyke seen the final version.
Dick Van Dyke has not seen the final version. He will see it tomorrow night at the premiere. He saw.
Does that make you more anxious than?
No, because his part, the section he saw, was pretty much finished when he saw it. But since then, we have, you know, we have our musical score is all in place. All our animation is finalized. All the color work, all of that. You know, I think he'll be really excited.
He's gonna love it.
And to see it with an audience,
yeah,
because he's gonna feel that love when he walks through that door and he comes on screen.
And Richard Sherman, who I've met at a couple of parties,
yes.
Oscar voter parties over the years.
Yes.
He was, saw in the credits, he's a creative consultant.
He's a creative consultant. That was really helpful for us because we were able to sort of, I just wanted the blessing in a way. I wanted to make sure that he felt that he was part of it, but also to get his blessing on the material, because we just wanted him to hear it, and he was so, I think, relieved, but also moved by the material. He's a big fan of Mark and Scott's, and he was just so proud that we were sort of staying within the vein of and the feeling of the beautiful work from the two of them, and so it felt right to have him there. That it was.
You made smart decisions at every turn. You involved all of these.
I guess
people.
It was all. Thank you for saying that. It was all very much wanting to find a way to, you know, approach this in the right way, with a great deal of care and thoughtfulness and love. That was really important to us, and I knew the bar was so high. I felt like I was literally doing 3 movies at once. The hardest film I've ever done, but came from such a place of great passion.
And nice touch putting Karen Dautrice
well, that was just
in a little cameo.
Thank you for seeing that. A lot of people don't know that, and that was really special having her on the set. You know, she's the original Jane, as you know. She's such a lovely woman, and she was so supportive and excited to be there, and so great to Emily Mortimer, and it was very special having her there. It was very special in that there's that little tiny Easter egg when she says, "Many thanks sincerely," and which is the last line of The Perfect Nanny, the song. "Many thanks sincerely, Jane and Michael Banks." And she says that line. It's really gives me chills.
Well, you've got a great one on your hands
Oh,
here.
too
I
kind.
hope the audiences worldwide embrace it as
Oh,
much
that's
as.
so nice of you to say. I feel like we're just starting to send it out, so it's nice to hear that. Thank you very much.
Well, thanks for today.
Thank you.